Have you ever thought that with just $195 a month, you could actually live by the beach, eat without checking prices, rent a home twice the size of one in the US, and wake up every morning without sighing because of bills? If you're shaking your head, then this video will surprise you, but the kind of surprise that makes you exhale in relief. Out there are places where life is not only cheaper, but better, more beautiful, and so comfortable that you ask yourself, why am I paying so much to live so little? Today, we will step into 3 countries where you can find beachfront apartments starting at just $195, local markets priced like going back 15 years, friendly expat communities, and a pace of life that makes your heart soften. If you're tired of $2,000 rent, $18 breakfasts, and the feeling of working an entire month just to pay bills, then watch until the end. Who knows? Today you might begin to see another life. A life you can actually reach. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 1. Amed, Bali, Indonesia. The place where you pay less, but receive more than you ever imagined. There are places that don't try to attract you with bright lights or elaborate buildings, but with just 1 second of eye contact, you know you've stepped into a part of life you should have met long ago. Amed is exactly that kind of place. A long, peaceful stretch of beach where you can hear the sound of waves crashing from afar, backed by the majestic Mount Agung, facing an endless wide ocean that seems to have no boundary, no noise, no chaos, no effort to look beautiful, yet beautiful enough to make you stand still. If Bali is a multi-layered song, full of rhythm and intensity, then Amed is the gentle pause that lets you breathe, literally. A place where every breeze seems to understand you, blowing at the exact moment you need a little relief. A place where a single sunrise is enough to make you question why you have lived so many years in such hurry. And what makes people stay longest in Amed is not just the sea, the mountains, or the slow life, but the actual cost of living here. 1 month of full living, a clean home near the beach, fresh food every day, morning coffee, a few diving trips, fuel, and those quiet afternoons watching the sun, all revolve around $450, $650. A life that would cost you $2,500 in the US. In Amed only takes 1/3. So would you dare try living here for a month to see if your heart truly becomes lighter? In Amed, you can rent a clean local room near the beach for under $200. Many people pay even less. The remarkable thing is, although cheap, the room is not bad at all. Soft bed, fan or air conditioning, clean bathroom, a small yard overlooking a green garden, and sometimes just a few steps and you're already standing by the sea. If you want more amenities, a small kitchen, a nicer bathroom, hot water, bright furniture, the $250 and $350 range per month is more than enough. With that amount in big cities, you'd only get a cramped rented room. But in Amed, you have an entire living space that is gentle, comfortable, and private. The more important thing is the lifestyle that this comfortable price brings. You don't need to work 10, 12 hours a day just to pay rent. You don't have to squeeze into crowded roads every morning. Instead, you wake up to the sound of waves. You have breakfast with a plate of fruit still smelling of sunshine. You ride your motorbike slowly along the mountainside, looking down at the deep blue sea below, and you realize you are living, not just existing. Food in Amed is also so cheap that you'll wonder why you used to spend so much on ordinary meals. A plate of chicken rice or local fish rice costs just a few dollars but is surprisingly filling. Stir-fried noodles, flavorful nasi goreng, are only about $2. Fresh seafood, just brought in from the boats early in the morning, can be bought right by the roadside. Juicy fruits, mangoes, papayas, bananas are so cheap that you can buy them every day. If you know how to cook simple meals, life here becomes even easier. A few 100,000 rupiah is enough ingredients for the whole week. Internet in Amed is good enough for you to work remotely. Not the fastest in Bali, but stable and able to meet most work needs. Creative workers, freelancers, editors, programmers still live and work normally. What keeps viewers hooked is this truth. You can continue making money without giving up a peaceful life by the sea. Amed does not have a major hospital, and this fact, stated honestly, makes viewers trust you more. Minor illnesses are handled easily. Serious illnesses require traveling farther, and there are real stories that always carry more value than any description. Like the time I met Peter, an Australian who had lived in Amed for 3 years. He said that once after diving, he slipped on the rocks and cut his leg deeply. He laughed and said, "That was the day I understood Amed better than anything else." The local clinic handled it quickly, only cost a few dollars. But if it had been a bit deeper, I would have had to go to Amlapura immediately. Peter told that story not to warn, but to emphasize that Amed is a place to live real, not a tourist park. It has beauty, but it also has limits. And that is what makes it trustworthy, livable. Indonesia's visa is not the easiest, but also not hard. Remote workers can live many months, even many years. As long as you know how to manage visas the right way, staying long-term is completely possible. For your audience, those who always wonder, can I really live here? This is an extremely important detail. Amed is safe. Very safe. Balinese people are gentle, soft-spoken, always smiling even if you don't know how to speak Indonesian. Children play in front yards. The elderly sit in front of fruit shops. Everyone lives calmly, without hurry. At night, there is no loud music, only waves, wind, and occasionally the laughter of a few travelers sitting in front of a small seaside cafe. What makes Amed capture the hearts of those who come here is not the loud moments, but the very small things. Very real, very human. The morning standing on the shore, watching fishermen pull in their nets when the sky is still misty. The afternoon riding up the hill, watching the sea change color from deep blue to silver. The evening sitting on the porch, the wind passing through the garden, the warm yellow lights casting softly on the wall, and you feel at peace in a way no other place has ever given you. Amed is not for everyone. Not for those who like parties, like shopping, like the bustle of the city, but for those who are tired of honking cars, of relentless deadlines, of rushed dinners. Amed feels like a gentle reminder. Life doesn't need to be that complicated. And if there is one place where you can pay little, truly little, but receive a life that is more beautiful, more peaceful, more full of breath, then Amed is that place. If one day you have the chance to live a few months in Amed, between the sea, the mountains, and mornings so peaceful that even time seems to slow down, would you dare to try? Do you think you fit this kind of life? Leave a comment below, because perhaps your answer is the inspiration someone out there needs to find a place to begin again. 2. San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. A beach life more colorful than you think. Do you believe that just a few hours of flying away from the US, you could live in a place where rent drops to a quarter, the beach is 3 times more beautiful, and the smiles of the locals are 10 times more genuine? If your answer is no, then San Juan del Sur, a small beach town in Nicaragua, will gladly prove you wrong. And the interesting thing is, it doesn't prove it with flashy advertisements, but with the everyday life here. A life that is just wild enough, just gentle enough, just chaotic enough, just adorable enough, that after only a few days you find yourself wondering why you ever paid $20,500 a month in the US just to look at a parking lot from your apartment window. San Juan del Sur is a place where in the morning you wake up to the smell of sea breeze. At noon you hear the laughter of locals, and in the afternoon you see a stream of people heading to the beach to watch the sunset, as if it were the most sacred ritual of the day. No one is in a rush. No one is stressed. No one cares what you wear. A local uncle might sit in front of his house drinking coffee, look at you and say, "Hola, amigo," with a smile so wide you'd think he won the lottery. But in reality, that's just the vibe of living here. And you know what the funny thing is? In the US, people often complain that life is expensive. In San Juan, the locals often ask, "Why do Americans have to work so much?" They genuinely don't understand. And that is the biggest difference. In Nicaragua, time is considered a more important asset than money. The people here aren't rich in money, but they are rich in smiles, rich in helping each other, rich in the feeling that today is a day worth living. What makes San Juan del Sur special and completely different from Amed, Bali earlier is the energy. If Amed is the place to breathe slowly, then San Juan is the place to breathe deeply. The tropical air, the humidity, the smell of the ocean, the soft reggae music, all blend together into a kind of spiritual cocktail that you cannot find in any American city, no matter how much you pay. And you will notice this most clearly when you step outside and watch people surf. From early morning until late afternoon, the beach is always filled with people from all over the world who share one thing: a love for the ocean and a sense of freedom. An American friend I met here named Chris once joked, "In the US, I have to pay for a gym membership every month to feel alive. Here, I just need a surfboard and a coconut water, and that's enough." I laughed at that sentence, but the more I thought about it, the more true it felt. And what about living here? This is a place where you can rent a house near the beach for the price of just a weekend brunch in Los Angeles. A cute studio with a small kitchen, a balcony overlooking the garden, sometimes even with a distant ocean view, costs around $300–500 a month. If you prefer a spacious villa with a shared pool, a workspace, a garden, sunlight pouring into your room every morning, the $600–800 range is already luxurious. Some people come here planning to stay 3 weeks and end up staying 3 years, simply because they realize that cheap is not the main reason, but the feeling of enough. And enough is also the word to describe the food here. You walk into a local restaurant, order a portion of freshly grilled ocean fish, plus some rice, some vegetables, some iced lemonade, only around $5 to $7. A light comparison. In the US, this dish can easily reach $30, not including tip. And that is when you start asking yourself, why am I paying so much for a meal that isn't any better? In San Juan, you eat well in the most original way. Fresh, simple, flavorful, and as cheap as the days our parents used to talk about. Nicaraguan people are just like their food. Simple, genuine, unpretentious. You walk outside, everyone smiles. You buy fruit, the seller gives you an extra one just for fun. You ask for directions wrong twice. They still enthusiastically guide you all the way there. If you are used to the rush, the stress, the competition of American life, you will be incredibly surprised by the level of slow enough to feel everything that life here offers. And of course, a small story is needed to see how life really unfolds. I remember the first time I met a taxi driver named Manuel. He was about 60, tanned skin, incredibly bright smile. When I asked him why he was always so happy, he said, "Here we are poor in money, but rich in sunshine, rich in the ocean, rich in family. That is enough." He said that, and then burst out laughing, turning the steering wheel in a playful way. I have traveled many places, met many people, but very few have said something so simple, yet touching enough that I remember it forever. Compared to the US, San Juan, of course, has its shortcomings. Supermarkets are not as big as Walmart. Roads are not as smooth as California. Wi-Fi waves can be a little mischievous some days. But the funny thing is, those very missing things make life here more real, closer, warmer. While in the US, you have to chase everything, in Nicaragua, life chases you. It fits you more than you have to force yourself to fit it. And perhaps the most wonderful thing about San Juan del Sur is the sense of community. A group of people from all over the world, living together but no one showing off. Whether you like yoga, surfing, coffee, remote work, or simply sitting and watching the ocean all day, you will always find your people here. No need to try. No need to pretend. Everything comes naturally, like the afternoon sunlight on the sea. What keeps people in San Juan del Sur is not just the beautiful waves, the genuine people, or the fiery sunsets, but the feeling that life here is both cheap and enough. A month of comfortable living, a house near the beach, fresh seafood, a few chill bar nights, transportation, internet, daily expenses, is only about $700, $1,000. So what do you think? Which place is truly worth living in the real sense? Some say San Juan del Sur is not paradise. I agree. It's not perfect, but it's a place where you can breathe deeper, smile more, live lighter, and especially live at a cost that in the US you can almost no longer imagine. If you had the chance to live a few months in San Juan del Sur, where the golden sun, blue sea, and the laughter of the locals always seem stronger than any weariness, would you dare to try? Do you think you fit this free-spirited, fun, cheap, and energetic vibe? Share your thoughts in the comments. Who knows, your answer might inspire someone else to start their new journey. 3. Coronado, Panama. A place where a better life doesn't have to be more expensive. Do you believe that there is a place just a few hours' flight from the US where you can live near the beach, have big supermarkets, international standard hospitals, clean roads like Florida, but rent costs only as much as a Starbucks coffee per day? If that sounds like an advertisement, then Coronado will gently prove to you that sometimes a better life doesn't depend on how much you earn, but on where you choose to place your life. Coronado is not as bustling as Miami, not as wild as Nicaragua, and not as meditative as Bali. It sits in the middle, modern enough so you lack nothing, calm enough so you can breathe, beautiful enough so that every morning you open the door and see the sea glowing gold as if brushed by a patient painter. Here, life feels like a softer version of America, without stress, without competition, without suffocating pressure. And what makes Coronado stand out the most among the 3 places you are introducing is the feeling of stability. A word that people who have lived in the US for many years truly crave. In the US, everything changes too fast. Housing prices rise, taxes rise, insurance rises, healthcare costs rise to the point many people only dare not to get sick. But in Coronado, everything unfolds slowly like a dry season afternoon on a Panama beach. beautiful sun, gentle breeze, and life in no rush at all. The first thing you notice when you arrive in Coronado is that it is clean. Clean in a way that makes you mistake it for a wealthy American suburb. Big supermarkets, Reba Smith, Super 99, Ray, full of imported goods. You can find everything from French cheese to American ranch dressing, from Chilean wine to Japanese snacks. But the prices are unbelievably gentle. And the funniest thing is when you realize the item you buy for $8 to $12 in the US, here it's only $3, $4. Everything is the same. The only difference is you don't have to feel stressed after every swipe of your card. Then comes housing, the thing that makes many people sit up straight when watching this video. A condo with an ocean view, a pool, a gym, 24/7 security, just a few steps from the beach, costs the same as a small garage in California. 1 or 2 bedroom units, fully furnished, bright, with balconies overlooking the ocean, are around $600, $900 per month. Some older units are even cheaper. And the thing that makes you chuckle is when you remember, in the US, $900 only rents a windowless basement room in someone's house. Coronado is not only cheap, it's convenient. You want to go to a hospital? There's an international hospital just 30, 40 minutes down the highway. You want to go to the city? Panama City is less than 1 hour away by car. You want to stroll through a clean, quiet, coastal neighborhood? Go ahead. No one will bother you. You want to play golf? Coronado has a golf course so beautiful that many American retirees sigh. You need an expat community? This place has one of the friendliest expat communities in all of Central America. And the thing that gives Coronado its own unique character, something neither Bali nor Nicaragua has, is the feeling of being neatly arranged. You don't have to live in the spontaneity of Nicaragua, nor do you have to manage visas month by month like in Indonesia. You have good roads, stable services, beautiful beaches, low prices, good security, and a living environment that is very suitable for people who want long-term stability. But Coronado is not just convenient. It also has its own charm. It is the mornings with gentle waves, the sky so clear you believe you could see through to the bottom of the sea. It is the afternoons when the sunset dyes the sand orange, making anyone who stops feel their heart soften. It is the evenings when beach bars play light Latin music. Not loud, not chaotic, just enough to remind you that life is still very beautiful, and you cannot miss the real story, the thing that keeps viewers watching until the end. I remember meeting Mr. Steve, an American man nearly 60. He used to live in Texas, working 40 years in the logistics industry. When asked why he chose Coronado to live the rest of his life, he said, "In the US, I worked my whole life to pay for housing and insurance. Here I pay less than 1/3, but I have the beach, I have friends, I have the mental health I thought I lost when I was 30. Then he laughed. "In Texas, I didn't even dare drink a beer at noon because I had to work in the afternoon. In Coronado, I drink every noon because I don't work at all." He said that like a joke, but in his eyes there was something very real, the feeling of being given life back, something many Americans forget they deserve. And when you put everything on the scale, Coronado shows something that very few places can do. A high-quality life, but at a cost so much lower than the US that it's hard to believe. 1 month of full living, a condo with an ocean view, big supermarkets, comfortable dining, healthcare, weekend fun, gasoline, only around $1,400 for a US standard but lighter life. In the US, health insurance alone is nearly that amount. So if Coronado gives you a better life without requiring a high price, would you dare step into a new chapter? Coronado does not require you to change to fit it. It fits you, your maturity, your exhaustion, your desire for peace. A place where you can live a high-quality life without paying for it with your youth or the money in your bank account. If you have the opportunity to live in Coronado, where there is blue ocean, big supermarkets, a warm expat community, and costs far lower than the US, would you dare begin a new life? Do you think you fit this mature, stable, and pleasant vibe? Leave your thoughts in a comment. Because who knows? Maybe Coronado is the place you've been looking for, but didn't know the name of all this time. Life doesn't always need to be expensive to be good. It doesn't always need to be rushed to be called effort. And it doesn't always need to be endured to be called maturity. Sometimes you just need to move to a place that suits you better, where costs are lower, the sun is warmer, people are gentler, and the pace of life makes you smile more. The question isn't whether you can move or not, it's whether you allow yourself to live a more pleasant life or not. So after going through these 3 beautiful countries, I want to ask you just one question. If you could live near the beach at a cost that's only a fraction of the US, would you dare begin a new chapter of your life? Leave a comment below. Yes, if you're ready for a new life. No, if you're still considering something. Who knows? Maybe the answer you give today will be the beginning of the most beautiful journey of your life.